Hello. And I don't know if that actually made anything better. That is okay. I feel like clear enough. A lot of it has to do actually with the outside whatever lighting, sunlight. Oh my god. It's Friday. Happy Friday. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. As always, we're going to start off with some wins. So comment them below in like the chat, your wins. Again, if I don't see them, I apologize. I do see them, and then sometimes I don't see them until after this closes. I don't know why, but drop them down below. And if you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay, and always comment a win with the link that I sent with all of this in the group. I love seeing your wins. And then also, I do see who watches it that way as well. So definitely go in and comment those two things. But let's get started. First and foremost, I better say a win before I go on. Can you imagine if you know what? There's been times where I've almost forgotten, but I've said my win like at the end. But I'm going to start off with my win. Um, my win is that, well, I'm back in full force with legs, which is awesome because I was injured there for quite a while. And I'm just back into the swing of things with upper and lower training just because I had to pull back a lot of my training because I did injure myself and I had to decrease a lot of my stress. And one of those stressors was physical stress, right? Because that's one that we can control, and my body just wasn't responding well at all and it was declining, so I had to remove that and focus on just letting my body do its thing. I was still training upper body, and I have recovered really quickly because I did that, so that's awesome. And now I'm back at it, so there you go. Amazing win. So today we're going to be talking about like redefining your fitness journey and also why it really matters for that long-term success. Everybody who is on the team is here to make a change to their life, whether it's losing weight, building muscle, maybe both, maybe it's overcoming like binge eating or just improving your nutrition or just understanding nutrition. Whatever it is, we're all here for a specific reason, and we also want those reasons to stick, right? Like we don't want to build muscle and lose it, or lose fat and then gain it all back, or have a good food relationship and then have it go down the shitter or anything like that. So we all are here for a reason and we all want it to stick. Now, the thing is when we Jenny, hello. I'm going to read your win here. Hi, Casey. My win is that my friends I saw over the weekend. Sorry, my eyes are not the best with the color schemes here. Over the weekend, have the flu this week, and yesterday I thought I might be getting it too, but so far I'm feeling good. Fan-freaking-tastic. That is a big win because right now it is going around. Everybody, I swear, is sick. There's a lot of people actually on antibiotics. Um, Weirdly enough, a lot of people have sinus infections, or it's other things like the bug, flu, things like that. But sinus infections seem to be like a thing right now. So everybody, plug your nose. No, I'm just kidding. That's not how it works. Can you imagine if that's how it worked? Anyway, so we're all, like I mentioned, we're all here for a reason, and we all want those reasons to stick. But the thing is when we first join a coach, a program, whatever you have it, even school's a great example, because when we first join let's say a course, we know that there's an end, right? And so we're just like, man, just make it till the end of ter fuck, what do we used to call it when I was in school? End of term, I guess. Yeah, that's something we'd say. So like, just make it till the end of term. Like, and then from there, I can breathe. I can like, I'll be okay. I'll be able to focus on other things. My life will be back to normal. Um, and that's true, right? That is true, and that's true for a lot of things, right? Like, you can take your car into the car shop or whatever. I am lost for words today. You can take your car into a mechanic and like, let's say something's wrong, and then it fixes it, and then it should be good for another like X amount of years, right? X amount of years, so like you may have to get it fixed again down the road, but it should be good for a long period of time. That's how a lot of things do work. However, though, when it comes to our bodies, unfortunately, that's not how it works, right? If I'm low vitamin D, which I got my test results back, and you guys, it is shockingly low. Like, it's so low. I audibly laughed out loud because it was ridiculous. My body just does not absorb vitamin D very well, and I also was not getting much through my food, which was bad coach Casey. Anyways, um, if I just stop taking if I start taking vitamin D, great, fixes that problem. But if I just stop it, guess what? It's gonna go back to where it was, right? Like I have to keep taking vitamin D, or I have to change something. I have to increase the foods that I'm eating that are more enriched with vitamin D, right? Like I have to do something to keep it going, something to maintain it. And I don't have to go crazy. I don't have to be taking bottles of vitamin D, but I do have to be doing something. Okay. So the same thing happens with, if we want to build muscle, or if we want to lose fat and keep it off, or if we want to maintain a healthy food relationship, like there has to be something that we maintain. There is never an end point. There's never a point where it's like, I can never work out for the rest of my life and lay on the couch and I will maintain my body shape. That is fucking not happening, right? Like if you laid on the couch and you ate just the basic foods that you were eating now, you would definitely lose muscle, you would lose fat, and then your body would just start to slowly decay, right? Now that's if you never ever got off that couch. I'm trying to show you extreme examples so you can actually see the difference in what I'm talking about, because our bodies do change slowly over time. And that's the frustrating thing, is when we're trying to change it, it changes slowly. Like I wish the change was fast, but that's just unfortunately not the case. It changes slowly. And same thing with reverse. Like it does change slowly. If like you start to lose muscle, it's such a slow progress. But it happens, right? Same thing when we build muscle. It's such a slow progress. But the thing is we have to keep at it if we want to keep seeing it progress. And once we get to that end result, we need to do something to maintain it. And that's what I really want to drive home, is that like this is like 100% a program, like where your coaches and all this kind of thing. But whether you stay with us till you die, which I hope everybody dies at a very old age, a very happy, fulfilling life. No, I never expect anybody to stay with us for that long. But let's just say, like, if you stayed with us for the rest of your life, then that accountability piece of still showing up, still doing your workouts and blah, blah, blah always will be there for you. So you can always, count on something or someone, whether it's me or Darcy, to make sure that like, these things are getting done. But let's say if you're on your own and like, things take a turn or something and you stop doing your workouts and it starts to go downhill. And that's where we really need to shift that framing of like there's an end result, or not there's an end result. There's an end timeline with this. Like it's not, people say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But for me, I don't like that phrase either, because a marathon still has an end, right? I just want to be like, it's not even a race. It's your life. Like this ends when your life fucking ends, right? Like eating well, you're always going to be eating until you die. Like even if you're eating creamed foods on when you're 100 years old in a wheelchair, you're still going to be eating food, right? Like maybe you're not going to be lifting weight. Maybe you're not going to be eating whole foods like solid, like an apple, but you're going to be still eating foods. And mind you, I'm not talking about like that version of you, but everything up until, the points of then, because I don't even want to go there. But up until the points, like this is your life. It's not, there's not an end date. Like there's no, your body is not going to, mind you, if you take a week off, couple weeks off, your body's going to be totally fine. It is meant for that. It is very resilient. But if you stop altogether, like it's not going to maintain that. You need to show up for your body if you want your body to show up for you, right? And so that's why when I really try to drive this home, and when I talk to people on the phone before they join, or when they do join, if I see kind of like red flags of it seeming like there's like a finish line, is that there's never a finish line. There might be a finish line for certain things, like certain protocols. Like for example, like if you're someone who wants to lose fat, um, maybe you're not going to be doing X amount of steps a day, because we're going to dial that back to make sure that you're just in a mode of maintenance, once you're happy where you're at. But you're still going to have to do something, right? And it goes across the board for muscle building and your food relationship. Like once you get to a point, like for me, I used to have an eating disorder and distorted eating, as most people, almost everybody knows on this team. If you don't, it's just because I haven't brought it up lately. But um, I still have to do work. Like, I don't have to do nearly the amount of work that I did before. But like when there is a super stressful thing come up, like it's not my go-to. Like there's not like an urge for that eating disorder to come back. But sometimes there is like a little thought here or there, or there's sometimes where I'm like, I just kind of check in and be like, how are we doing? Is this like something that is going to kind of like, fuck me, what's the word?
Resurface.
uh Revamp that like eating disorder. Darcy's beside me trying to help feed me these words. Telepathically, we are not communicating right now. Clearly, because it's not up in here. Anyways, like, are these choices gonna like kind of like revamp or kind of go down that pathway? And if so, like maybe I should just stick over here, or like maybe I should opt for this. Like there's always going to be some level of work. It may not be the same intensity, but some level of work there for me. And it's the same thing for like people who alcoholics. They'll go, even if they're no longer an alcoholic, they will still have things that they need to keep up with. And it's not that someone has a harder life, it's just that we have different struggles. Everybody has a struggle. So my struggle isn't harder than yours, and your struggle isn't harder than mine. We just need to always work at it once we kind of get to our end goal there. Now we have to work to maintain it, right? And so that's what I want to really like redefine this fitness journey, because like there's a lot of work being put up front, and that is fantastic. It needs to happen. But once you get there, there's still work to do, because if you want to keep it, you're going to have to keep doing something, right? And so I really want that to be reframed from like there's a finish line to like there may be like small pit stops. Like maybe your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Great, that's a pit stop. But that doesn't mean that's the end, right? Like just because you're tracking now doesn't mean you have to track for the rest of your life, but there's still some sort of work that needs to be done with nutrition, right? In order to maintain your results. Now, if you're someone who's like, I want to, which there's no one on the team, because this is why I have a phone call with every single human being who comes onto the team first, to make sure they're the right fit for the program, right? And if there was someone who came and was like, I just want to um, like lose, this is extreme, lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks, and I don't care if I keep it afterwards, I want to go right back to how I was eating before. First of all, they would never be on the team, because I that's super damaging, right? um but that's also not our values. We want everything to stick. That's why we're teaching you everything. That's why we're when you get a check-in, that's why we try to explain something. That's why we try to encourage all the questions, because so we can teach you to know what to do, so you have those tools in your toolkit to pull out, or they can just be second nature, because it becomes your life. And that's what we're really trying to do, right? Is we're trying to change a lot of things right now up front, but we're also teaching you things so you can maintain it. And that's where, if you have the mentality of like, oh, once I'm done this program, or once I leave, it's done. It's like, no, 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 no. Unless you want to go back to the old version of you, then yeah, this current version of you dies and it's done, and then you can go back to the old version of you. But I know not one person on here wants to do that or wants to be that person. And so that's why it's like the old version of you has to die for this new version of you to keep going. And if that like old version of you, I guarantee you probably had that mindset of like, oh, it's a finish line. Maybe you didn't, and that's totally fine. But if you did, that needs to die, and this needs to be kind of, I guess you can say, reborn. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words today. But anyways, so that's the topic today of just, if you ever catch yourself thinking like, oh, I only have like X amount of days and I can like go back to like laying on the couch and like not working out and like all those kinds of things, that's a massive red flag. And I don't think anybody's really thinking to those extremes. And there's other times where it's totally acceptable. If you're like, I'm in a cut, but I know that I'm reversing, like I only have 3 more weeks to go. I'm just going to push for 3 more weeks. And then like, maybe like we've planned for an intuitive eating meal, or like, I know that there's still work to be done, but I'm not in a cut anymore. It's a fine line to walk down. So if you ever find yourself kind of like in that area, message your coach, because with bodybuilding, it takes everything to another extreme, right? And so we can pick it out, and also we've been doing this for so long, we could pick it out very easily if it's like detrimental, or if it's like, no, it's totally fine. Like, it's totally fine to have a deadline with something, but it's more so like how you're framing it, right? And it's kind of like when I bodybuild and I have a show, like there's hard deadlines in my mind of being like, hey, I'm every single week I have to, or actually check in multiple times a week with my coach for months of being like, hey, I'm like 16 weeks out, 15 weeks out. I'm, every single time I'm just like, re, oh, fuck, my God, what am I thinking of? Reconfirming to myself that there's a deadline, right? I swear I should have like something where I can press, and when I start to lose, like when I lose the word that I'm thinking of, I can just press a key on this keyboard, and it can just on everybody's screen just be like buffering, and I can like, like pause, like it's almost like it just happened to your computer, but I just need to time to grab the word that I'm going after. Just kidding. I'm not that high tech, but that'd be pretty cool, right? Anyways, so it's just reconfirming that there is a deadline. And once I get to that deadline, that's where actually a lot of people who compete end up with raging eating disorders, or just huge raging body disorders. Like, it is insane if you do not have the right mindset. And that's why Darcy and I drive home mindset so much, because even though, no one's competing on the team here, mindset still is so important. We just see it at such an extreme level of how it is so detrimental if it's not set up correctly, right? If your mindset's not in a good spot. And so that's where, like, even when now, like when I used to, back in my like super amateur mental days, I would be like, hey, I'm done on this day and I can do whatever I want. I could go back to normal. And that was not the fucking case. And it's now when I go into a show, I'm like, I like my first pit stop is show day, but my next pit stop is like 4 months after that, when I'm fully reversed out. And then from there, it's another pit stop for maintenance for me now, or for me to focus more on growing. And so it's not so much a deadline and I'm done. It's just like that's just a see right now. It can be loading on your screen. Right now, it's more just of like, you gotta turn right or you gotta turn left. It's not a full U-turn, and it's not a full stop either. It's just a small, like, detour that you have to take. Anyways, so I don't know. My vocabulary is shrinking. I don't know what it is. It's always on Fridays. I think it's just the end of the week, and I'm becoming brain dead. But I'm gonna read here. Robin, there is no end. There is resetting the new baseline. I fucking love it. That is exactly true. I don't know. RBG was working out till the end. Oh man, yeah. So I mean, again, to each their own, but like, we all have different journeys and different detours we have to make, but the actual like road that we're stepping on never ends until we're dead. Just kidding. It's a little extreme. But maybe until we can't walk anymore. That might be a little more extreme. Anyways, we all have our own actual endpoint, but you know what I mean? It's not like 2 weeks from now or even 2 years from now. It's multiple years ahead of us from now, right? And um, just reframing that there's never an end date. It's a continuous journey. And that will take so much pressure off of you, because it instead of focusing like it so intensely on an end date, you kind of just sit there being like, well, I'm going to make the best of this. I know it's hard right now, maybe, or maybe it's not hard right now, but I guarantee you there will be a hard time for every single person, because that's just life. And then just to be like, well, that's life, and I'm choosing this life, and so I'm going to keep going with my workouts even though I don't feel like doing them, or I'm going to keep going with my nutrition even though I don't feel like, I don't know, eating this broccoli in front of me. I don't know. My examples, you guys, I don't know, man. Like a couple lives ago, I said an example that was like so morbid. I said it and I was like, why did I come up with that? It was something like jumping off of a cliff and then dying or something. And I was like, that is so extreme. I could have been like, you fell off your bike and scraped your knee. But what can I say? We're extreme on Fridays. All right. I don't want to keep this going too long. So, you guys, I hope you have a fantastic Friday. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay, comment your win. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I love you all. You're all doing so great. Keep showing up for yourselves and keep showing up for each other. I love the WhatsApp group. Seeing you guys post in there and support each other. And just like, you know, show the good and the bad. Like that's what we're all here for. And I just love the community. Darcy and I are always talking about it. Um, I was gonna say between the two of us, and I was like, well, yeah, no shit. But anyways, behind closed doors, I don't know. Um, the other Robin. Hi, Casey. My win is being able to eat normal today. I had to eat soft foods yesterday after a dental procedure. I'm so glad that you are able to eat whole foods again. Whole foods, I mean like an actual food item, not like, blended. Man, that can be I hate doing that, especially like when I've gotten some colonoscopies done and you have to like drink that fluid and you can't eat. Like that is like I don't know how people honestly, I to each their own, how people fast for a full day. Like shoot me, put my face through glass. Like, oh my God, a full day of not eating. It is so tough for me, and I know that it's not tough for other people, and there's other things that are not tough for me that are super tough for other people, but not eating for 24 hours is, like, horrendous. So, but even, like, I'm glad you're eating whole foods. I know you're eating blended, but, like, still. Such a like, a basic thing that we take for granted so much, I find, like, it's like, "Oh, I kick myself so much because there's days too, you guys, where I'm like, this whole past week, I've been like, I don't want to fucking eat any. Sorry for my language. I don't eat anything in the fridge. I've sworn so much already. I know. It's Friday. I'll be like, I don't want to eat anything in the fridge, and I still will make myself eat it because I'm like, I'm not. My choices are, I go out and buy something, which is counterintuitive because there's food in my fridge. To then I also might have to throw it out because it's gonna go bad, and Darcy too. Unfortunately, I like cooked the shit out of the chicken, so it is dry and chewy this week. So Darcy and I are both struggling with with that, but we get it too. Like we're not always super hyped to be eating what we're eating, but at the end of the day, is like I know it's good for my body. My taste buds can take a back seat for a few meals. Like it doesn't need to be explosive in my mouth every single day, because just like I was saying in the WhatsApp group, if you don't have the bad, you'll never have the good. And if you only have the good, then everything turns bad because you just don't have that contrasting. Um, you don't have that contrast, right? So you really can't appreciate the good without the bad. And so that's why I do appreciate the bad when I'm going through hard times, when I'm frustrated as all hell. I do appreciate the bad because not only has it made me a better person, but it's really made me grateful and appreciative, and it just allows me to enjoy life to the absolute fullest. Um, that you can, right? And then I know when one day when I die, I can look back, hopefully like when I'm like super old on my deathbed. This is my fingers crossed, by the way. That is pathetic. I have some fat fingers. They're short, so it's okay. But I want to look back and remember that like those bad times, I can guarantee you guys can look back to bad times, and even though they weren't good, you can have a deep appreciation for them because they turned you into who you are now, into such a better person, whether that's more resilient, more disciplined, more patient, more understanding. It turned you into something better. And without those bad times, again, we wouldn't be where we are today. I'm gonna read out some more comments here. So true. Colonoscopy in 2 weeks. Okay, I feel for you. I hate that shit. It's not the procedure. It's like the day before the procedure. Anyways, again, you can't appreciate the good without the bad. There, Robin. Um, Robin Miller. I like asking myself what she wants. She'll surprise me, like put the chicken with random veggie sauce. Yeah, yeah, and that's another way to frame it. Is kind of like seeing like how you can spice things up, like what would intrigue you with the foods that you have. And that's why I like making them plain and everything separate, because you can make so many different meals out of like the most basic things if they are basic, because then you can add spices, you can have sauces, you can put it with different things, and Bob's your uncle. Jenny. Hi Casey, my win is that my friend. Oh no, that was at the very top. Why did this say like? Okay, I think I'm done with comments. All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. I promise now this is actually going to end. I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay, comment your win with this. And again, I appreciate everybody in the Facebook, in the WhatsApp group. We see everything. We love you all, and have a fantastic weekend. Bye, guys.